which is that you did earlier mention that you thought that we would need to trust bust the big tech companies, but what you just described, it sort of felt like you were describing some kind of process of self-selection amongst the customers. So, do you think that we will see government step in, and do you think we should see government step in, or is that not necessary?
I really don't have a view on whether they should or not. I think that they will. And the reason that they will is because of money, meaning that, the first thing that I think happens is really a view on taxation. The reality is that these companies make just an enormous amount of money, and they do it in every single country of the world now. And so it's just too tantalizing for a state or local or federal government in any one of the random countries in which these, 6 or 7 huge tech companies operate to not look at that revenue and just pass a law and say, tax treaties be damned, but from now on, if you're going to make money off of my citizens, you're going to pay me a tax. And I think that that's how it starts. And so when you can imagine that happening across 180, countries of the world, what you're going to see is diminished long-term profitability, which impacts the market cap and investor sentiment and whatnot. It's also what causes then some amount of employees to leave, start their own things, go to smaller companies. And that's what starts the dismantling of it. The next, I think, form of trust busting is really around, distribution controls and the risks and the culpability that these big distribution networks take. Right now, they can protect themselves behind internet laws that don't treat them like broadcasters. But I think increasingly governments around the world, and you're seeing this already, Australia is doing it now, Europe is looking at it now, they're going to attack those protections, and they're going to treat the online, media companies in the same light. And then the last thing they're going to do is they're going to create more competition on the distribution side because of the advertising monopoly that a few folks have. So these are kind of just like, and you don't have to predict these because these are actually happening. So, this is not like a grand vision of mine. This is just reading the newspaper every day. And, when folks start, what happens is it emboldens the next politician to have a little bit more courage and a little bit more courage. And eventually it tips. And, in 10 years from now, we'll look back and it'll seem like, oh yeah, obviously this was going to happen. But it's impossible to put this genie back in a bottle once politicians smell blood.